Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Jordan Trimble, the Director, President, and CEO of Skyharbour Resources, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol SYH, on the OTCQB under the symbol SYHBF, and on the Frankfurt under the symbol SC1P. Skyharbour holds an extensive portfolio of uranium exploration projects in Canada's Athabasca Basin and is well positioned to benefit from the improving uranium market fundamentals. The company has 6 drill-ready projects covering over 250,000 hectares of land, and it has just released some drill results. We'll get to those in just a moment. Joining me now is Jordan Trimble. Jordan, the intro is really only a part of your story, and I alluded to the fact that you're going to talk to us about those drill results. Let's start there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you did a good synopsis there of the company. Just to reiterate, we are a high-grade uranium exploration and early-stage development company with 6 projects scattered throughout the Athabasca Basin in northern Saskatchewan. This is the highest-grade depository of uranium in the world. We've been actively exploring there for the better part of the last decade. The flagship project, Moore Lake, where we just announced our first batch of drill results from the 2021 drill program, has returned some notable high-grade mineralized zones over the last few years of drilling that we've been focused at the project. We acquired this project in 2016 and we've been actively advancing it since then. One of the highlight drill holes in this recent batch of drill results included 2.54% U3O8 over 6 meters, and within that 6.8% U3O8 over 2 meters. So very high grade Athabasca Basin style drill results. We're continuing to advance that project towards a resource estimate. We also announced in the news release that we'd expanded the program from 5,000 to 7,000 meters. We're fully funded for all of this exploration we have planned at Moore. And one last note on it, and a very exciting talking point, is that more recently we've been drill testing targets in the underlying basement rocks. This is the geological setting that most of the recent discoveries in the Athabasca Basin have been made in. So we are looking for higher grade mineralization at depth. These were targets that had previously been untested or poorly tested by previous operators. So we feel that there is a lot more mineralization to be discovered at the project, and that's what we're going to be testing with the ongoing drilling.
So let's talk a little bit about the uranium market, because a lot of people haven't been paying close attention to uranium over the last couple of years because it didn't look as though it was going to have the same kind of robust support that it had going back we know quite a number of years. But things have been changing. The landscape in the United States is changing, and the move towards nuclear power, it seems to be increasing, not including the electrification of everything and the need for that kind of clean power on demand.
Yeah, look, the nuclear industry has been hit hard by several notable events over the last 30 or 40 years, at least from a perception standpoint, and there's always been a bit of a stigma, but we're seeing a turnaround here in the sentiment. Investor sentiment has been improving for the industry and for uranium mining companies. You hit the nail on the head. This is all about decarbonization. This is about transitioning from a carbon-intensive electricity grid and electricity generation to a carbon-neutral electrical grid, and nuclear energy and power is the only source of baseload, scalable, affordable, and reliable clean electricity. And it's going to play an integral role going forward as the world continues to electrify and as we continue to need less carbon-intensive sources of electricity. So the demand side will continue to grow. Just looking at the underlying fundamentals, they're very compelling for this metal. You have what is about 180 to 185 million pounds of annual demand for nuclear power plants, and that's in the backdrop now of about 125 to 130 million pounds of primary mine supply. So there's a major structural deficit, primary mine supply deficit that's been exacerbated over the last few years as there's been curtailed production due to low uranium prices and due to mines coming to the end of their mine lives. It was hit hard last year with the pandemic. So it is a very interesting commodity in that it really is a fundamental story. There's a real fundamental basis for the recent price increase that we've seen in the metal. More recently, we have seen financial entities like the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust buying a lot of material in the spot market. That's driven the price up quite substantially. But even at the current $45 to $50 a pound spot price, you're still well below the price needed to incentivize new meaningful production to come online to meet the growing demand in the long run.
It's a tricky market, and so investors are going to be looking at you and your team, and they're going to say, okay, what experience do you bring to this intersection in the uranium market and your projects?
Yeah, no, and look, that's a key ingredient for the success of any of these companies. We've been around now for about 8 years. We started the company in 2013. I come from a finance and entrepreneurial background. I was previously the corporate development manager for a gold company, Bayfield Ventures, which was acquired by New Gold. I teamed up with my head geologist, a gentleman named Rick Kazmersky, who's based in Saskatoon. He's a 40-plus year veteran exploration geologist with focused expertise in the Athabasca Basin. He was the exploration manager at Cameco for a number of years before he built and sold his own uranium exploration company, JNR. He ended up selling that company to Denison Mines, and Denison is one of our larger strategic shareholders. David Cates, who's the president and CEO of Denison Mines, is a director of Skyharbour. And more recently, we did add some additional bench strength in the capital markets with the addition of Joe Gallucci, who's the head of mining investment banking at Laurentian Bank in Montreal. So we have a very good mix of focused technical expertise in the Athabasca Basin, which is important as we are a Athabasca Basin uranium exploration company, but we also have a strong management and capital markets experience with the rest of the board and the rest of the management group.
So with the weight of that team, I know that you also are a prospect generator. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in that, in that realm or aspect of the company.
Yeah, so in addition to our flagship project, we do have a host of other properties, again, scattered throughout the Athabasca Basin. We've been very opportunistic over the last 8 years, acquiring these projects at really pennies on the dollar. So there's a strong re-rating potential as we see the market continue to pick up. We've done 3 deals thus far with strategic partner companies that are coming in and have either optioned or joint ventured these secondary projects that we have, one of which is with industry leader Orano, which is France's largest uranium mining and nuclear fuel cycle company. They now have a 51% interest in the Preston project. At our East Preston project, we are now joint venture partners with a company called Azincourt. They've been actively exploring and drilling there over the last several years. They've earned a 70% stake. We retain a minority stake in both of those projects. And more recently, we brought in a new option partner at our Hook Lake project over on the east side of the Athabasca Basin. We partnered up with an ASX-listed company, Valor Resources. They can earn 80% of this project by spending $3.5 million in exploration expenditures, paying us just under $500,000 in cash. That's over a 3-year period, and we are a large equity holder of the company as well. And that's one of the benefits with the prospect generator business is that it adds additional news flow on top of the drilling and the work that we're carrying out at our flagship Moore Lake project. This work is predominantly funded by partner companies, and we do typically retain a fairly large equity holding in these partner companies. So as we see the market continue to move higher, as we have been over the last year or so, those positions increase in value, and it provides multiple irons in the fire. It allows us to offer investors multiple shots at new discoveries in the Athabasca Basin.
You've got an awful lot underway right now, and unfortunately we're literally out of time. So I'm hoping that you can come back in a couple of months and give us updates on not only just your flagship property, but your other projects as well.
Yeah, I'd love to. We have lots going on. There's going to be a lot of news flow between now and year end with the drilling we're carrying out and our partner funded programs. And we're seeing a pretty notable resurgence in the uranium market. And we hope that continues.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.